You know that specific sinking feeling when you're in the clubhouse after a round?
Oh, I know it well.
You've got a drink, you're looking at the scorecard, and the math just, it doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you hit the ball pretty solidly, you didn't lose a dozen balls, you even made a few pars that felt great.
Right.
But then you look down at the total, and it's a 94 or an 88.
Mm.
And you just can't figure out where those extra 10 strokes came from.
It is the silent killer of golf scores.
It really
It is. It's rarely the one huge disaster hole that blows up the round. It's the slow, steady bleed. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the immediate instinct, and I think this is totally universal for every golfer, is to blame the swing.
Of course.
We think, okay, I need to go to the range, I need to, shallow the club more, or I have to fix my hip rotation. We treat the scorecard like it's purely a report card on our biomechanics. Bad score means broken swing.
Which is the ultimate trap. Because, we both know that real technical swing changes are incredibly difficult to make stick. They take months.
Months of repetition. And usually, under pressure like on the 18th tee when you need a par to break 90.
Oh, it's gone.
That new move you worked on for 3 weeks just vanishes.
Yeah.
Your body just reverts to what it knows.
Yep.
So today we're taking a bit of a detour. We're putting the swing mechanics completely aside.
You're good.
We are looking at a way to shatter that scoring plateau, whether you're trying to break 100, 90, or even 80, without actually changing your physical ability to hit the ball.
I love this.
We've been digging through this fascinating strategy session from Henrik Jentsch, recorded at his indoor center in Mulheim, right as the 2026 season is kicking off. And what I love about this is Jentsch basically says, stop trying to be a ball-striking robot and start being a mathematician.
It's a great session. And he opens with this very specific, very firm concept. He says, I am not giving you swing thoughts. I am not giving you complex drills. He calls them non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Hey, that sounds a little intense, like we're drafting a legal contract or something.
Well, in a way you are. You're negotiating with your future self on the course. Jentsch defines them as performance principles. Think of them as a code of conduct for the golf course. The idea is that golf is a game of just infinite variables, the wind, the lie, the pin, your nerves.
How much coffee you had that morning.
Exactly. A non-negotiable is a constant. It's a behavior you commit to 100% of the time, no matter what the situation is.
So it's about removing the option to make a dumb decision in the heat of the moment?
That's it. It eliminates decision fatigue. You know how by the back nine you start making mental errors just because you're tired of calculating risks?
Oh, yeah.
You just stand over the ball and think, I hope this works. A non-negotiable makes the decision for you before you even tee off. It's an algorithm for scoring.
And the promise here is that these are basically hacks for the scorecard. We're not trying to make you hit the ball like a tour pro. We're trying to make you score like a genius. Now, looking at the source, Jentsch outlines a few of these, but there is one in particular that feels like the centerpiece of the whole philosophy. It just flips the script on how we approach the green.
It really does. It addresses what he calls the dead zone.
The dead zone. Okay, that sounds like a Stephen King novel or a sci-fi movie.
It might as well be. In Jentsch's world, this is a very specific slice of real estate. We are defining the dead zone strictly as the distance between 30 and 80 yards from the pin.
30 to 80 yards. Okay, now, instinctively, if I'm standing 50 yards from the flag, I'm thinking, great, I'm close, I can get this up and down, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Why does Jentsch flag this as the most dangerous place on the entire course?
It is the ultimate optical illusion in golf. You feel safe because you're physically close to the target. But Jentsch argues that biomechanically and mentally, this is the hardest shot in the game for an amateur to execute consistently. It is the absolute graveyard of good rounds.
Why is that? I mean, is it just lack of practice?
It's partly practice, yeah, but it's mostly physics and proprioception.
Yeah.
Your body's awareness. Think about it this way. If you're 150 yards out, you have, say, a 7-iron.
Right.
You make a full swing. Your body knows what a full swing feels like. It's a complete motion back and through. The club accelerates. It's stable.
Yeah, I don't have to think about how hard to hit it. I just hit it. The club does the work.
Precisely. Now, go to the other extreme. 10 yards off the green, you're chipping. That's a very small, distinct motion. Weight forward, hands forward, a little bump.
Right.
But the dead zone, that 30 to 80 yards, is the awkward middle child. It's too far for a chip, but it's too short for a full swing. You have to manufacture a feel shot.
So you're taking a full swing club, like a sand wedge, and trying to swing it at what, maybe 60% power?
And that is where the amateur brain just short circuits. We don't practice 60% power enough to trust it.
Yeah.
So you're standing over the ball, your brain knows you have too much club, and it panics. It realizes mid-swing, if I hit this normally, it's going 100 yards.
Okay, this leads us to the specific mechanical breakdowns Jentsch highlights. He talks about two specific error types that happen here. And I think every golfer listening is going to recognize these immediately. I certainly did.
Oh, absolutely. The first is the deceleration error, or what he calls error type A, the fat shot.
The chunk.
Yeah.
The heavy, the sawed-over ball special.
So here's the physiology of that chunk shot.
Yeah.
You take the club back, your brain subconsciously screams, too far, don't hit it over the green. So what happens? On the downswing, your body stops rotating. It tries to hit the brakes to kill the power. But your arms and the club head, they still have momentum. They keep going.
So the body breaks, the hands flip past, and the leading edge digs into the ground 3 inches behind the ball.
And the ball goes 6 feet. It is so demoralizing. You look up, and it's still at your feet.
I can feel the vibration in my hands just talking about it. Okay, so what's the second error?
Error type B is the result of the same anxiety, just of different physical reaction. It's the thin or bladed shot.
The missile across the green.
Exactly. You're so afraid of hitting it fat that you pull your chest up, or you try to help the ball into the air with your wrists. You catch the equator of the ball, and it just screams.
Usually into a bunker or the water on the other side of the green.
Correct. So now think about the damage. You were 50 yards away, looking at a potential par. You bladed over the green. Now you're 20 yards away, in thick rough, lying 3. You're scrambling for a double bogey. That is why it's the dead zone. It turns pars into doubles in the blink of an eye.
It's a total scorecard killer. But here's the aha moment of this whole session for me. Jentsch points out that we don't just magically appear in the dead zone. We usually put ourselves there on purpose.
The strategic error.
Through what we think is good strategy.
Exactly. It usually happens on a par 5 or after we've punched out from the trees on a par 4. We've got a long way to go, but we can't reach the green.
Okay, so let's set the scene. I'm on a par 5. I hit a decent drive, but maybe I popped it up a little. I'm sitting there, say, 250 yards from the green. I know I can't get there in 2. I have to lay up. What is the typical amateur logic right here?
The logic is simple, linear, and intuitive. Closer is better.
Right.
The little voice in your head says, the closer I am for my third shot, the easier it's going to be. So you think, I need to advance this ball as far as possible right now.
So pull out the 3-wood or the hybrid. I want to smash it.
You want to maximize distance. So let's say you hit a great shot. You stripe your 3-wood 200 yards. You are thrilled. High fives all around.
That feels like a huge success. I just advanced the ball 200 yards.
But just do the math. You were 250 out, and you hit it 200. Where are you now?
I'm 50 yards out.
Welcome to the dead zone.
Wow. Okay, I see what you mean.
You have taken a relatively safe situation, and by trying to gain all that distance, you have parked yourself in the exact yardage that is statistically most likely to cause a huge mistake.
So I did the hard work of hitting a 200-yard shot just to give myself a nightmare 50-yard shot.
Exactly.
It's so counterintuitive because we are wired to think a 50-yard shot has to be easier than a 100-yard shot. Closer equals easier.
In a vacuum, maybe? But not under pressure, and not with the mechanics of a partial swing. Jentsch is basically saying that for the average golfer, someone shooting 85, 90, 100, a full swing with a wedge is infinitely more reliable than a half swing.
Because of that stability we talked about, the centrifugal force keeping the club on plane.
Exactly. A full swing is a circle. It repeats. It's mechanical. A half swing is feel. It relies on timing and touch. And on a Saturday morning, your touch is just not reliable.
Okay, so we've identified the trap. We are hitting our layups too far, ironically.
Yeah.
What is the solution? What's the non-negotiable rule here?
The rule is simple. Work backwards.
Work backwards.
You don't look at the ball and look forward to the green. You look at the green and work backwards to where you want to be. Jentsch says everyone, and I mean everyone, needs to find their favorite number.
Their favorite number.
This is a distance where you feel totally bulletproof. For most men, it's usually a full gap wedge or a full sand wedge, somewhere between, say, 90 and 110 yards.
I know exactly what mine is. It's 105 yards. I have a 52-degree wedge, and if I make a full committed swing, it goes 105. I don't have to steer it. I don't have to ease off. I just swing.
Perfect. So 105 is your number. That is your target. When you're on that par 5 sitting 250 yards out, your goal is not get close. Your goal is get to the 105-yard marker.
So I have to do the math. 250 minus 105, that's 145 yards.
Right. So you put the 3-wood back in the bag, you leave the hybrid alone, you pull out an 8-iron or maybe a 7-iron.
It feels so incredibly passive. I'm laying up with a 7-iron. My playing partners are going to look at me like I've lost my mind.
Let them look.
They're going to ask if I'm hurt.
Let them ask. Then watch them hit their 3-wood, end up 40 yards short of the green, and blade their chip over the back. Meanwhile, you hit your 7-iron to 145. Then you step up with your favorite club, hit your full 52-degree wedge to 15 feet, 2-putt, par.
It essentially turns the par 5 into a par 3 that starts from the fairway.
That's a brilliant way to put it. You're trading a high-risk, high-variance situation for 2 low-risk mechanical shots. That is the essence of the non-negotiable. If you cannot reach the green, you must lay up to your favorite number. You don't have permission to just hit it hard.
And I imagine this also helps the mental game. There's something stressful about standing over a 3-wood on a tight fairway, knowing you have to crush it. There's very little stress hitting a smooth 7-iron.
Oh, massive difference. You're playing from a place of confidence, not anxiety, and that accumulation of stress is what kills you on the back 9. If you play boring golf for 12 holes, you have so much more mental energy left for the finishing stretch.
Now, Jentsch does mention one big exception to this dead zone rule, because we're not saying you should never be close to the green.
Correct. The rule is to avoid the 30 to 80-yard bracket. However, if you have the firepower to get the ball inside 20 yards, then do it.
Okay, so inside 20 yards is the green zone.
Yes. Inside 20 yards, the mechanics change back in your favor. You aren't pitching anymore, you're chipping. You can use a bump and run with an 8-iron. You can putt from the fairway if the grass is tight. You just need to get it rolling.
So the strategy is sort of a barbell approach. You want to be either really close under 20 yards or comfortably far back, over 90.
Precisely. The middle ground is the kill zone. If you're 230 yards out and you know your max drive is 220, don't go for it. You'll end up 10 yards short, which is fine, or you'll mishit it and end up 40 yards short. That's the dead zone. If you can't guarantee getting inside that 20-yard line, you stay back at your number.
It's amazing how simple that sounds, but how much discipline it actually takes to pull an iron on a par 5.
It takes checking your ego at the parking lot. That is the hardest part of golf. We all want to hit that hero shot.
Now, this dead zone rule number 3, was the deep focus of the session, but Jentsch did lay out a full code of conduct for 2026. There are 2 other rules that really frame this whole philosophy. We should touch on those.
They absolutely set the stage. Rule number 1 is all about the tee box. Jentsch states, if you aren't hitting the driver off the tee, you must hit the fairway.
Wait, let's unpack that. Because usually people say, I'm struggling with my slice, so I'm putting the driver away to play it safe.
Right, but we've all seen what happens next. The player puts the driver away, they pull out the 3-wood for safety, and then they slice the 3-wood into the trees anyway.
Every single time. It's the classic safe shot that is not safe at all.
Jentsch's point is about risk management math. If you're sacrificing the distance of a driver, say you're giving up 30 or 40 yards, you must get the reward of accuracy in exchange. If your 3-wood isn't 100% reliable, you have no business hitting it as a safety club.
So if I'm laying back, I need to lay back to something I literally can't miss.
Exactly. Hit a hybrid, hit a 4-iron, hit a 7-iron if you have to. If you give up distance and you still miss the fairway, you've committed the cardinal sin of course management. You've lost twice.
You've paid for insurance and then wrecked the car anyway.
That is the perfect analogy. So the non-negotiable is, if the driver stays in the bag, the ball must find the short grass. No exceptions.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, and rule number 2.
Rule number 2 deals with your approach shots. If you have a wedge in your hand, you must hit the green.
Oof, that sounds like a high standard.
Yeah.
Must hit the green.
Yeah.
I mean, we're amateurs. We miss greens. It happens.
It sounds like pressure, but it's actually about target selection. He isn't saying you have to stick it to 2 feet. He's saying that if you are holding a scoring club, a 9-iron, a wedge, you should never be firing at a pin that brings trouble into play.
So stop pin hunting.
Stop pin hunting. If the pin is tucked right behind a bunker and you aim at it, you bring the bunker into play. Miss slightly, you're in the sand, Jentsch is saying. With a wedge, your dispersion is small enough that if you aim for the center of the green, you will hit the green.
So if I have a wedge, my goal is simply put it on the dance floor.
Yes, because from the center of the green, you will 2-putt for par most of the time. If you miss the green with a wedge, you're scrambling for bogey. The non-negotiable is, do not get cute, get it on the green.
So when you put all three together, you get a very specific, disciplined style of golf.
You really do.
Rule 1, if you play safe off the tee, you actually hit the fairway. Rule 2, with a wedge, aim for the middle of the green. And Rule 3, if you can't reach, lay up to your number to avoid the dead zone.
And if you visualize a round played that way, honestly, it sounds incredibly boring.
It does. It sounds like old man golf. It sounds like no fun at all.
It is boring.
Yeah.
It's methodical, it's unsexy, and it is highly, highly effective. It removes the double bogeys, it removes the X from the scorecard. You're hitting fairways, hitting greens, and when you can't, you leave yourself an easy, full shot. It's stress-free golf.
And that's really the core of it, isn't it? We are so obsessed with highlight reel shots, the 300-yard drive, the flop shot over a bunker, that we ruin our scores trying to hit them. This is about being a machine.
It's about realized potential. Jentsch is basically saying to you, the listener, you are already good enough to break 90, your swing is fine, your math is bad.
Your math is bad. That hurts, but it's probably true. We treat golf like it's figure skating, where you get points for difficulty. The scorecard doesn't care if you hit a beautiful, risky 60-yard flop shot to save par, or if you hit a boring 100-yard wedge in two-putt. A 5 is a 5.
And statistically, the boring wedge leads to a 5 way more often. The hero shot brings 6, 7, and 8 into play. The boring shot rarely gets worse than a bogey.
So let's bring this back to the listener. You're heading out for your next round. You've listened to this deep dive. What's the immediate takeaway? How do you apply this tomorrow?
I would say start with the dead zone. That is the highest impact change you can make. Before you even tee off, go to the range and find that favorite number. Is it 90, 100, 100, 110? Hit 10 balls and confirm what it is.
Write it on your glove if you have to.
Seriously, do it. Then, on the course, every par 5, every time you punch out, you do the calculation. Distance to pin minus my number. Hit that club. Commit to it.
Yeah.
And just see what it feels like to swing aggressively on a layup.
And pay attention to your stress levels.
Yeah.
I bet you'll feel a lot calmer standing over a full pitching wedge than you do standing over a 50-yard half swing.
Absolutely. You might find that boring feels pretty good when you're writing down pars. It's a different kind of satisfaction, the satisfaction of outsmarting the course.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. Better golf doesn't always require a better swing. Sometimes you just need to know where the cliffs are and stop walking off them.
Well said.
Now, here's a thought to leave you with, and this goes way beyond the fairways.
Yeah.
We talked about the dead zone being this area where we rely on feel and finesse without actually practicing it, and how that leads to disaster. It makes me wonder, where else in our lives are we trying to finesse the situation? Maybe a negotiation at work or a difficult conversation at home where we're just winging it, hoping for a good touch. Maybe, just like in golf, we should be stepping back, looking at the math, and setting ourselves up for a full swing, a standard procedure where we know we can succeed, rather than relying on a miracle touch we haven't practiced.
That is a big question. Finesse is maybe overrated if you don't have the skill to back it up.
Something to mull over on the drive to the course. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Go find your number, avoid the dead zone, and we'll catch you on the next one.